We're en route to Wales.
Still staycation pending.
So we're here. Here's a quick tour of the space, guys. And there is a Rudy. There she is. Little crazy Rudy. It's proper lush little Airbnb, this. Nice little getaway. There's our little workstation. There's Rachel. We're going to do... You still up for that interview in a bit?
Huh?
Interview?
Oh, if I have to.
There we go. Interview time.
Yeah.
Going to interview you on all things anti-gravity. You've been here for about 3 months now. And yeah, I've got 5 questions to ask you. Just about state of the design agency world, AI, all that jazz, all the classic sort of things. But also we're going to just dig a little bit deeper into you and your role at anti-gravity. So
Yeah.
let's dive in.
That's good. Exciting.
So, okay, question number 1. We're just going to dive into a little bit of your background, a little bit of history, and a little bit of sort of like the leadership side of things now with you leading creative teams. But obviously at one point, you actually were a creative. So I think it'd be really valuable to talk about your sort of journey from being a creative to moving into more project manager to like the director now, and maybe some of the things you picked up along the way and why being a creative has really helped in your position today, really.
Yeah, so as you said, I started out as a graphic designer, did my degree in graphic design, and for the first couple of years of my career, I was working at some really cool brand agencies, working across, web design, branding, all sorts of kind of marketing assets. Did quite a lot of film and, producing videos for clients, which was all amazing. And then I started to kind of transition into more of a management side of things for a few years ago now, starting with project management, so managing kind of the workloads with the teams, and also going out and doing a bit more sales stuff, which was really, really good to kind of pick up and learn. So went to some pitches, went to some networking events to try and, take on that role at the agency as well. So that was a great learning curve. And then, within that, kind of jumped across a few different sectors. I've kind of now got experience through branding, advertising and marketing. So, I was able to kind of pick up all sorts from each one, I suppose. My heart will always kind of be in the brand world, but it was nice to kind of learn about, so in advertising, for example, it was more content driven, hooks, writing, kind of conceptual ideas and things like that. And both advertising and marketing come into quite a strategic approach around how to get in front of your audience. So I learned a lot around kind of target audiences, ROI, how to get the best out of your budget, things like that. So there were some really, really key kind of things I've learned throughout all of it, which I can now bring into this role. Yeah. So leadership wise, I've taken that kind of knowledge from being a designer myself right through to the project management, sales, everything kind of more commercial, and brought that into what I do now, I suppose. It's nice that even though I'm not really hands on the tools anymore, I kind of understand it. I've been through it. I understand kind of the time that it's going to take to do things, and all of that jazz. So yeah, I feel like the biggest thing about kind of leading a creative team is allowing people to have that freedom to experiment, to share ideas. I think that is a huge thing that
I completely agree.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're in an environment where you can't bring up an idea even if it doesn't go anywhere. I think
it's also like just not having someone over your shoulder and just giving people like the autonomy to like breathe and just kind of get into the creative zone, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like sometimes it can be like, here's your project, complete it, move on to the next one. And here we kind of like our team to be able to contribute more to kind of our overall vision, to be able to kind of put ideas forward on the table, and just kind of shape the way they are creating things, I guess.
I think that's absolutely
I think that's a huge part. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is, allowing people to have that freedom, the autonomy to kind of, do what they want. I'm rambling.
I love that. No, I love that. You're not rambling at all. I think you're absolutely smashing that.
But then there's also an element of like, you have to take each person individually and learn what works for them. So some people might really, really thrive in that environment, and others might need more direction and they might need more structure, and that's completely fine. And it's just about adapting and making sure that everyone's got what they need.
It's being quite malleable as a lead and a director, isn't
and
it?
And there's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever works for the person to get the best out of them and make sure they're really happy. So I feel like we're both quite good at doing that.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, I'd be remiss, considering whether we are a brand studio and stuff like that, not to take the opportunity to ask you, when you were a designer, what was one of your favourite brand projects that you worked on? And you should be able to talk about it. I'm sure it was a few years ago since you've been a designer, so just to get a bit of an understanding of a brand that you did that you really enjoyed.
Oh, branding. I can think of campaigns and stuff, but branding's...
a campaign is good. Do you want to talk about through a campaign?
Yeah,
that you really love doing?
So many. I love the work I did for Poundland and the works in advertising. Feel like one of my favourites was actually Stockport Council. It was just a lot of fun. We got to work on kind of so many different campaigns throughout the years I was working on that account. There was food festivals, and there was a cycling enduro sport thing, which we did this big campaign for.
Oh yeah, I remember you're creative for that.
Yeah, I got to go out.
It's so much fun, the council stuff, to be fair. And you did a lot of hand-drawn type because you were originally typographer.
Yeah. So a lot of like the Christmas campaign, for example. I just got to be so creative with it. Like they gave us the freedom to kind of produce things the way we wanted to. Yeah, they trusted us creatively, and to be the designer on an account like that is amazing because you get to kind of throw your flair at it. And every designer at that agency had done a little bit for them, so we brought our own style to it. So yeah, from a design perspective in my career, that's always been one I'm really fond of.
I also really love the work you previously did at another agency for Phoenix. That was a really nice...
yeah, that was a bit of a team effort. So I think it was with some of my other colleagues doing the branding for that, and I was challenged to draw a feather that became a flame at the top.
Oh yeah, it was sick. You did such a good job.
So that was fun. That was really fun.
So it's really good. So this is what's really important. Is it's great to hear, for people watching, to hear that even though you're, a director now and things like that, you were very feet on the ground at one point, and you were stuck in doing massive brand camp projects and branding projects, and you've got a wide range of knowledge there, really, that you can draw from when you're leading the team now.
Yeah, and on such a wide range of clients as well, from small SMEs, like I mentioned, councils as well, and then right up to kind of working with Poundland and Starbucks and all these bigger brands as well. So massive breadth of all sorts, really, and I kind of like that I've experienced all of those things.
100%. Okay, question number 2 is, with all things brand, what do you think is the biggest opportunity for brands right now, and where can they win, basically?
To be honest, I feel like brands have such a huge opportunity right now, and it all just comes down to standing out. I think with AI and everything, there's just so much rubbish out there now. Literally, brands just need to be creative, put something out there that isn't AI slop, and you're already standing out. If 60% of the brands go and produce kind of generic AI stuff, and you're out there working with the best creatives on the best campaigns and really making sure your visuals stand out, it's a massive opportunity.
Yeah, it's huge.
I just feel like, I just have in my gut, I just know that the ones not adopting kind of fast, cheap AI content are the ones that are going to stand out so much.
I think it's not even like the AI stuff. I think we've definitely noticed like a lot of brands have just got this thing in them that they want to play safe and try and appeal to everyone. When if there's that saying, isn't there? You appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of brands are doing that, and they're actually becoming what I call blands. They're just they are almost blending in with the AI slot because they're just doing something so generic, because they feel like rather than targeting their approach and trying to get in on a distinct target audience that they need to do and be doing something loud that attracts them, they're just trying to appeal to everyone.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to know your audience or audiences and really, really appeal to them. And I just don't think that a lot of what's coming out of ChatGPT or AI or anything like that is doing that. Sorry, I went back to AI.
No, that's good. That's a good.
Why I did that.
No, that's a really good one for my next question, to be fair. So, with all things AI, I guess my question is, You know, AI is changing the game across the board, as we all know. Where do you think it's having the biggest impact in branding, and where do you think that human touch really matters most? And maybe we can talk a bit about where we're using it as a business.
I feel like human touch always matters most. It always will. I don't see that going anywhere. And I think if it does, then that's just not a good idea. And to be honest, I think the biggest impact it's having on brand is that it's making non-AI branding even more important. I think the whole point of branding is, differentiating yourself, having an identity that's, to the core of what your brand is and how it speaks and who you are. And I feel like with more kind of AI content and AI driven brands coming out, the more important it's going to be to have a fully thought out, properly created by specialists brand.
I agree.
So
like intentional.
Yeah,
everything's intentional, not just generic.
Yeah, like properly done the way us brand specialists do
Yeah.
it. So honestly, I don't think it's going to have too much of a negative impact on what we're doing as brand specialists.
Where do we use it internally in the business, do you think?
I think it's kind of more useful for kind of operational things, so speeding up our processes without touching kind of the creative side of what we do. I think that needs to stay authentic and true to us, and not really impacted by AI. But I think it can help with kind of formatting briefs in a clearer way. That's a lot quicker to do. Taking meeting notes and putting them into kind of more of a format for our designers to take on in a more structured way, that whereas I might be a little bit more rambly with it and it might take me loads of time, like now I can get it into a clear structure, which will hopefully mean that the guys can pick it up quicker. They know what they're
100%.
doing. They've got all the answers right there, instead of me forgetting when the deadline is. So then there's all this back and forth. Like, I think it's helpful for things like that. But as I say, creative wise, no, not so much.
So we've come inside because, as you heard, a lawnmower was progressively getting closer to us, and the dog was our dog Rudy was just tapping away and also getting louder. It was like noise was just slowly encircling us. So we've come inside to finish off our interview with our new studio director. I've got one more kind of hot topic to ask you about. So we've got a real good understanding of your background, your sort of ideology on leadership, your thoughts on classic AI. I think the other hot topic at the moment in the sort of brand space is obviously personal brand. So a lot of people are banging on about personal brand, but from your perspective, how important is personal brand and where does it sit alongside main brand?
Okay. I definitely think they're both really important. I mean, I'm kind of, shouldn't be saying it, but mine is not even very good. So, probably something I should probably take on. But I think there's no doubt that there's been some brands that have had some huge success, partially because of their personal brands. Take like Grace Beverly from Tala, people like that they've done really, really well. And as part of their kind of wider marketing strategy for their actual brand, it's really worked. I think it comes down to that whole thing of like people buy from people, and people are super nosy as well. Like we want to know what's going on in people's lives. So I think especially from like a direct to consumer perspective, things like that, it's doing really, really well. And then from a B2B perspective, so LinkedIn, obviously everyone knows that personal accounts seem to get better traction. So I think that's a big part of why personal brands are so important, because it helps you show up, it helps you be authentic to your brand.
Do you think one of the issues though is that perhaps that people forget that it's a channel to the main brand? Do you know what I mean? Like it is a marketing funnel from the main brand, because ultimately you still need the main brand there to be able to sell the business, right?
Yeah, of course. Like you couldn't just have a personal brand and then not focus on your business's brand at all, because that's always been important, always has, always will be. I think the personal brand thing is just more about, I think it's come from this whole authenticity, community, marketing vibe that we're in at the moment, where like they're the hot topics. Like everything is community, in person, people focused. And I think that's why personal brands are hitting so well at the moment. But it doesn't take away from the fact that your commercial company brand is how you show up in the world, how you show up in stores, how you show up on all of your social medias, your website, like how you communicate with your audience. That's what helps convert your customers and clients. So you can't have one without the other. But I definitely think personal brands are a very good way of showing the authentic kind of story behind your brand.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because obviously recently we've started working with quite a large influencer, and it's kind of gone the other way, where the influencer's got a really good personal brand, of course, but now that he wants to really drive monetization across his brand, drive a lot more revenue, shops,
brands.
and just show, exactly, and show up commercially to brands, he actually needs a brand himself. So we've worked with him on his brand and website, because he needs that commercial edge now to his personal brand, which will allow him to grow and in turn and get more revenue.
Perfect example of why you have to have both. His personal brand's led to this massive community, but without the kind of more company brand, it's kind of limiting him now. So yeah, just goes to show why both are so important.
Yeah, massively. Last question to round it off, I think. So, like I say, been here 3 months now at Anti-Gravity. You've seen us through our first quarter, sailing the ship. What does the next 12 months look like for Anti-Gravity for you?
Ooh, okay. So I see growth, not like crazy, speedy, too big for our boots, but slow, steady, really considered growth. We want to onboard new clients. Obviously, we've had a really good few months. We've got a lot in the pipeline. And we're in the middle of a couple of pitches, things like that. So hopefully we'll get to build some fantastic relationships with some new brands over the next couple of months. Team wise, we'll see what happens. It would be nice to onboard a couple of members. I'm happy with where we're at. But yeah, we definitely want to grow over the course of the year. I think a big one is to establish our brand a little better. We've put a little sneak peek, I suppose, with our landing page, but we're in the process of building out our full main site. So that's going to really kind of help us show up. And yeah, I think that's going to kind of help us become just more who we are. I feel like we're shaping the story, we're shaping kind of who we are as a brand. And I think that's going to be a really big focus.
Lovely. I love all of that.
Thanks for listening to me ramble, guys. It's been nice to put my face to the brand, because Jordan's been mostly doing these vlogs and will continue to, because I don't really like being on camera. But it's all good. You've got to put your foot out there, haven't you, and give it a go. So who knows? Maybe I'll show up more.
Well, that's it. Well, it's nice to be able to highlight different members of the team now and just go a little bit deeper on their expertise, your sort of thoughts.
Yeah, we want you guys to know who we are, who the people running the brand is. So yeah, it's been nice to chat.
Should we have Rudy on next week?
Yeah, she's got some serious.
Yeah, she knows brand and marketing.
Yeah,
100%. She knows brand and marketing. No, thank you very much for being on.
No worries. Bye, guys.
We just got Rachel, who is quite literally just over my shoulder. She's always just over my shoulder, to be honest. And yeah, that was a really interesting interview. I'm really glad that I was able to share a little bit of Rachel's background with you guys and just her knowledge and expertise. Like, Rachel's phenomenal at what she does, and I'm really glad that she's on board, really. She's got a wealth of experience working in agencies, and the last role before joining us was running a team of 12 people, and being a husband, otherwise it'd be quite weird for me to be in Airbnb with an employee. As her husband, I've seen her grow from a designer into the role she does now, and yeah, she's just an expert talent, and she's just been such a rock in these past few months, so it's been great. So I thought I'd take this opportunity on this very scenic walk. Very scenic, there you go, give us a wave, Rach. Hey, very scenic walk. Just to talk about Anti-Gravity after last week's more somber note of losing that pitch. It was really valuable. We learned a lot, and we've got a few more pitches in the pipeline. In terms of how the business is going really well. We've got a lot of invoices at the moment that we're chasing, but the big thing really is just getting a bit more sort of outbound stuff, really, if that makes sense. The issue we're kind of facing is there's a lot of we've got really strong word of mouth as a business, but we really need to work on our outreach and just make sure that we're connecting with new businesses, really, who need our brand support, and just refining our retainer package a little bit more, because with Rachel's background in paid media, that is something we can offer now, and our developers have just started doing a lot of paid media. So we just started work with a client doing some paid media for them, and essentially our goal is, to weekly and even monthly just keep refining the adverts we produce for them to make sure it's just maximizing the brand. And so I think ultimately every business's first year is just about kind of survival, really, and smashing out as much as you can. We've had a really successful start, and we just need it to continue, and we just need to start branching out now and letting Anti-Gravity grow on its own, past me, and start to be a more recognisable name than it currently is. We did have one client come through though that knew Anti-Gravity, which was quite nice, and knew Anti-Gravity before they knew me, which is kind of where we want to be, isn't it? Guys, look at this. We've made it to the beach. Look at that.
Tides are out, miles out.
Mate. There we go. The funny thing is, that we will... I brought a ball when I came before with Rudy, and she doesn't give a flying hell. All she's bothered about is the water. That's literally all she cares about. But it's stunning here. It's so stunning. I think ultimately it's just really good to get away as well. I think we've had our heads so stuck in the hustle and bustle and literal hustle of Manchester that it's good to get a bit of literal fresh air, touch grass, and even though we're still working these past, these next few days, I think it's just good to get a bit of distance from stuff and just reevaluate,